NATO and the US assisted Kiev in its drone attack on Moscow. Such attacks would not have been possible without the assistance of the United States and its NATO allies, the Kiev government, which continues to provide it with drones, weapons, including people using trains, and the intelligence necessary to commit crimes such as Russian crimes. The Ministry of National Security announced on Tuesday that information of the Earth's surface has been obtained with the help of civil and military satellites. Unfortunately, these attacks were planned and carried out using Western funds and weapons. Operation Flight. At Vnukovo International Airport, citing the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense, a TASS report said the attack targeted public infrastructure, including a major international airport. These plans were thwarted by the delicate operation of Russia's anti-aircraft and electronic warfare system. 4 drones were shot down and 1 lost control and crashed. No injuries or damage. Terrorist act. Meanwhile, Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Maria Zakharova condemned the attack at Vnukovo Airport as terrorist act. Said Zakharova, "The international community should know that the United States, Britain and France, which are permanent members of the UN Security Council, finance terrorist regimes." 2 drone attacks on the Kremlin in May were shot down by the Russian army without causing any damage. Moscow stepped up its rhetoric after announcing that Ukraine had shot down 5 drones near the city on Tuesday, saying Ukraine's drone strike on Russian territory was impossible without the help of the United States and NATO. Meanwhile, Ukraine, Russia's eastern Kharkov. Moscow accused the West of allowing Ukraine to carry out drone strikes before declaring what it called terrorist acts. These attacks would not have been possible without the assistance given to the Kiev government by the United States and NATO allies, the Russian Foreign Ministry said. Crimes pointed to the truth in a series of recent attacks, including attacks on the Kremlin and Russian cities near the Ukrainian border, that Moscow blamed on Kiev. State RIA Novosti reported that emergency services failed one of the drones in Kubinka, about 40 kilometers, 25 miles, from Vnukovo International Airport, where the brief collision occurred. May 2 drones were shot down over the Kremlin earlier this month, and later that month, drones attacked Moscow skyscrapers. Burning, spinning cars. Early on Tuesday, Kiev said Russia had produced 22 Iranian Shahed attack aircraft and 3 missiles. Said his troops killed 16 aircraft. In the eastern part of Kharkov, on the Russian border, the attacks hit a parking lot in front of a building in the town of Perv-Maysky, with a population of about 28,000. The head of the Kiev presidential office, Andrei Yermak, took pictures of burning and destroyed cars. Kharkiv Regional Governor Oleg Synegiubov broadcast a live video showing smoke from burning cars near a Soviet-era building. 43 people, including 12 children, were injured in the accident. Police also reported that 2 people were killed when a Russian bomb exploded in a field on the southern front of the city of Kherson. Zaporizhzhia indicted. Late on Tuesday, Ukraine accused Russia of plotting terrorism against the Moscow-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, while Russia claimed that Kiev was planning an attack on the facility. Since the conflict began, both sides have repeatedly accused the other of putting the safety of the factory at risk. Kiev claimed that things like explosives were placed on the outer roofs of the third and fourth reactors, the largest in Europe. Their explosions should not destroy power, but it may create the appearance of a bombing by Ukraine, he said, adding that Moscow would give false information about it. In Moscow, Renat Karka, advisor to the Rosatom nuclear agency, told state television, July 5, "Really at night, in the dark, the Ukrainian army will try to kill the Zaporozhye NPP." Ukraine allegedly plans to use long-range weapons, including drones. Journalist attack. An award-winning Russian investigative reporter was beaten by gunmen in Chechnya and taken to hospital, according to his own newspaper and human rights group. The protest took place in the early hours of Tuesday, when prominent journalist Elena Miroshina and lawyer Alexander Nemov left the airport. Her newspaper, Novaya Gazette, published a video of Miroshina taken in hospital with her hair shaved off, her body painted green, used against Kremlin critics, and her hands bandaged. He said the attack, which included a gun pointed at his head, had affected his professional work in Chechnya. Miroshina has been reporting for years about human rights violations in the Caucasian republics led by veteran Ramzan Kadyrov. She came to Grozny on the orders of her husband and son Zarima Musaeva, who argued with the Kadyrov regime, but did not come. "This is a sensitive issue," he said, describing Musaeva as a detainee. Musaeva was later sentenced to 5.5 years in prison for fraud, widely seen as revenge against her family. Attack on the area impossible? This attack will not be impossible. The assistance of the United States and NATO allies to the government of Kiev, which continues to supply weapons to the Kiev government, including drones, Russian Foreign Affairs Ministry UAVs, drone trains its operators and provides the skills necessary to commit such crimes. Added, all this is what Washington and its satellites did to Kiev to plan and act as terrorists using Western money and Western weapons. The Kremlin reported that the Ukrainian drone that attacked the city of Nova Moscow was destroyed. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said, "All these drones were destroyed by the relevant system." According to the state news agency TASS, this is absolutely true. Previously, Moscow Mayor Sergei Sobyanin stated that the city was attacked by Ukrainian drones. On Tuesday morning, all were killed by the air defense and no one was injured in the attack. For drones were destroyed by the air defense, 1. Ukraine usually does not mention the attack on Russia. But commenting on the drone attack in Moscow, Ukrainian military intelligence spokesman Andrei Yusov, commenting on the drone attack in Moscow, "If we talk about Moscow, we do not always comment on it. But it happened. For example, if SHTT Special 45 was involved in the attack behind Ukraine, then this means something could fly to Moscow. It happened." Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova said the drone had hit an act of terror in Kiev. The attempt by the Kiev government to attack areas with public infrastructure, including the airport where foreign flights are also accepted, is another terrorist attack, he told Telegram. Zakharova added, the international community should know that the permanent members of the UN Security Council, the USA, Britain, and France, finance the terrorist regime.